everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas. I'm Marie Briel.
And I'm Heidi Henry, coming to you from 3 separate socially distant studios at the edge of the Great Red Divide. You can catch all of our previous work at Heartland Mamas, MAMAS.com, and on the Demcast Network and all podcast platforms. So today, Marie, we have Peter Janko, who is an activist from the northern half of Illinois. He is a central committeeman and all-around great guy. And so what we're going to talk about today is a lot of our frustration with COVID-19 and compliance with the statewide mandates, and our own personal frustration with how things are going, because I really think that they could be doing better. So, Pete, why don't you talk to us about how you're finding COVID-19 in your area? You had some really great graphics and stuff that you should show.
Okay, well, first let me thank you for having me on today, and there's actually been a lot going on here, in regards to different people, different organizations, what we're doing up here, but there is still an overall frustration, and are having to deal with never maskers, people that think it's a conspiracy, all that stuff. Because quite frankly, if we don't get our act together up here, we're never going to get over this virus. And the lockdown that we did would be a total waste.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of people suffered through it, and they'll be all for nothing.
I think what you're saying, Peter, is really spot on. And the problem is, when COVID first hit Illinois, we were one of the first states to get an outbreak, it was considered, we had information that wasn't up through all the way, or we didn't know anything, but it was a city thing. It's only a city thing. And as we got it under control and we started to open up, and all the states around us did, we started to see this rise in cases. And now when you look at the case numbers, cases coming out of the rural counties are terrifying. And one thing I want to bring up is Starved Rock. So when we were in phase 3, we opened up forest preserves, we opened up state parks, people were able to go.
Yeah.
For a month, there were thousands of people visiting Matheson, Buffalo, Starved Rock, all of these parks, and there were no case rises. Now, June 29th, we moved to phase 4 and allowed for indoor dining and indoor bars within a certain capacity. Case numbers in 14 days in LaSalle County and Bureau surrounding Starved Rock, 7 restaurants have had to close in that immediate highway vicinity.
Right.
You tell me that there isn't a connection there. For a month, thousands of people were coming to the parks, thousands of people were being active and enjoying the area, and then as soon as we open up indoor, start to see cases. And areas like DeKalb, areas like the Ogle County, Boone, LaSalle, Grundy, they don't have the infrastructure in place.
No.
You're seeing explosions. Even here in the suburbs, New Lenox and Frankfort, big explosions. Page is one of the worst. They're not affecting Chicago the way that they did. They're affecting us. And so I think this is wonderful that you're on to talk about the northern part.
Yeah, I mean, here's one of my big concern. It's always been a big concern of mine that's travel a lot. I'm in historic restoration. I go do site visits and things like that. So I'm all over the state. And so I observe, okay? And one of the things that we all notice is that, we stop for lunch in these little towns along the interstate.
Yeah.
And it's a place where people from these states where they're having these massive outbreaks, you're going to stop for lunch.
That's right.
The locals eat there as well. So I call these COVID transfer stations. And so I started, Anyway,
I love this graphic
that I did. And I don't know if it's good. It's probably backwards and everything.
No, it's perfect.
Great.
Yeah. But this right here is the DeKalb Oasis. And, when I heard about the quarantine, Lori Lightfoot, if you're from this I think it's a smart move. A lot of people are going to do it, but a lot of people aren't. And so I started thinking this, well, how are people in Chicago going to get really infected big time? And so I decided to go visit some of the tollway oases. And the three that I visited were Hinsdale Oasis, DeKalb Oasis, and Belvedere Oasis. And I didn't like what I saw.
Germfest.
And, well, I mean, inside the Oasis, I mean, they spread the tables out and everything.
Yeah.
But the people were bunched in lines with some with masks, some without. So informally, about a good 25% of all the visitors in the Oasis did not wear masks.
Peter,
I saw a whole family come in.
What time was this? You said, how recently was this? I'm curious. Around here, at the beginning, I noticed a very strong, everyone was wearing masks. Everyone had a mask on. Even in the more rural areas.
Not out by me.
Like DuPage. Well, in this area, and in my small little geographic region, we were very masked. I very rarely saw anyone without one. Went to phase 4 and the mask went out the goddamn window. Everybody doesn't care. So when were you at those Oasis?
Yeah, this was like 2 weeks ago, and we've
phase 4
the same thing. During the lockdown, everybody was wearing masks. I mean, there were very few people. And then as soon as we opened up, I mean, I went to Napa Auto Parts in Marengo a little over a week ago to pick up some auto parts. And nobody was wearing a mask. I mean, nobody behind the desk, nobody in the store. I'm the only one that came in wearing a mask.
Peter, my husband had to go to Stoller Implement right near us to get parts for our grasshopper zero-turn mower, and it's one of the few places we can get parts for that thing. And he has a very rare form of bone marrow cancer. It's simmering right now. It's not active, but we've been through this with him, and with prostate cancer, it was simmering until it wasn't, and it was ramped up so quickly he had to immediately do something. He was just diagnosed within the last 6 weeks or last month. He goes in there. He's the only person in the building wearing a mask. The only person. And I know ideologically or politically that organization and the Henry family would not be on the same page. But the fact that he went in there, and I told him, I said, don't you ever go in there again. It's just too stinking dangerous. And people who are anti-maskers, who refuse to do this, don't understand how delicate. The one thing the doctor told him, don't get COVID-19, it will kill you.
I am sorry, but I believe a part of the anti-maskers and the mask holes is education.
Oh, no.
I believe it's clinging to bits and pieces that they see and hear that they want to believe that fit their values.
Well, yeah, I believe
what it is.
That they take the reality and twist it.
Selfish privilege.
Well, I would say selfish dickheadedness, yes.
It's founded on this false mythology. It's been fed to our kids. You talk about indoctrinating children.
Yeah.
This fake-ass country has our story. We build everything around this American idealism, this patriotism, everything is independent and free. We've lost the human factor, and we never had it. If we go back and look at the pandemic of 1918, go back and look at that, we see there were huge campaigns of anti-maskers.
Yes.
We see that 100 years later, people are doing the same bullshit.
Yes.
Why? Because nobody can tell me what to do. It's America. Well, maybe instead of it being America, you should think about it being a human.
Well, and we should think about community, and I think we've lost that when my ancestors came over in 1649, and there was no Rhode Island. They formed what became Rhode Island. They had to work as a community and do things for the common good in order to survive. And we've lost that common good survival instinct. Now, I disagree with a lot of the things that they did, but I understand their sense of community helped them to survive. That's the only way that this country became the United States, was through that. A lot of genocide and horrible things also went into that. But just saying that that's how we got to where we are now, community working together.
I mean, the message has been out there for a long time is
Yes.
that I wear a mask to protect you and you wear a mask to protect me. I mean, it's a very simple concept, you know. I mean,
Yep.
it's the golden rule, you know, do unto others as you like to do them unto you, you know. And I don't see why these people are struggling with this. It's simple, right? And if these people want this end, okay, then we have to cooperate. I mean, the mass media had this hashtag, we're all in this together. Yeah, right, we are, you know. Except you go decide you're going to do your own thing.
Yeah. Peter, we've lost your audio here a little bit, so maybe adjust your microphone. Here's what I've been telling people lately is that if we don't get this together now, this will be the loneliest Thanksgiving coming up ever, because we won't be able to be in the same space together. We're going to be sheltering in place again, right in time for the holidays. And if we can't, if as a country, if all of us would just agree to wear our masks and socially distance for 4 weeks, we could beat this.
We can. I mean, here's the funny thing.
Same argument. We're talking about freedom. We mentioned that a little bit, and why people don't. Those same anti-maskers, those same folks are the ones who, their right to protect themselves is more important than my right not to get shot by your bullet.
Yeah.
They're the same mentality. It's the exact same thing. My right to not, it doesn't protect me. My right to not wear a mask is more important than me getting you sick. So I can shoot my gun, and if I kill innocent people because I'm, shooting my gun, I am. It's the same damn logic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, these are the same people that fought against the seatbelt laws and all this stuff. And quite frankly, I don't understand what motivates them. For example, in the seatbelt laws, they said, well, I can go around and I don't have to wear seatbelts and stuff like that. But what they don't figure out is if you go get into a car accident, the chances are that you don't have insurance and you're going to go and be intensive care. And guess what? The taxpayers are going to pick that up.
You know it.
And the same thing. Right. And now here's the funny thing is these people, like these governors and stuff that want to open up early. They think about here it is. The economy is more important than human lives, right?
Right.
I mean, think about this. You mentioned Thanksgiving. Think about Christmas, okay? Most businesses make the vast majority, 90% of their income at Christmas.
They don't call it Black Friday because they call it, Black Friday makes or breaks a retailer, So.
Right. So I mean, with lockdown on Black Friday, I mean that's gonna do more to kill the economy than any of this. Wearing masks, limiting the number of people in stores and stuff, and these people just don't get it.
The only thing.
I think we're right now in the crux of going back to school. So there's really intelligent plans. We're going to do a special show on this tomorrow. There have been some great plans out there, some stupid plans. Again, it's who you elect. It's who decides what they're going to do. But I really am going to get blow-ups. I'm going to have a graphic made. I'm going to put each school's yearbook cover or a mock-up yearbook cover with that school on it right next to it, blown up, in memoriam. Teacher, student. Every school's yearbook is going to have a page devoted to all the people lost from stupid decisions because people need free daycare, because you got to get back to work for the economy. That's bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm really fired up about that, and I think it's something. We're also doing body bags because I'm pissed that my district did what it did, and all the ones around the state are.
And exactly, and I mean, one of the things that we have to do is we have to find out everybody, like people like you, people like me, people like Heidi, that are actually out here, on the front lines, because out in our area, we're doing something else. To fight this, okay? One of the problems that everybody's complained about in our area is these damn businesses that refuse to require masks, that don't do don't care about social distancing,
Right.
I think we need to boycott them, right? And if they're struggling to survive, I say let's put them out of their misery.
You know,
Let's make sure nobody goes there and let them go under. At this
Yeah.
point, I don't care because to me, that's how we save the economy, okay? Because these businesses are hurting the economy, and let's face it, okay? They don't need to exist. We need to get rid of them, and we need to get back to normal.
they're perpetuating the virus by not following the social mandates of mask wearing and social distancing. I know that when we had outdoor dining, it was really quite charming to see all the restaurants and how they had coped with the outdoor dining experience, and some really did it well, and some were just kind of pop-up tents and plastic chairs, and it worked fine. Now people are back inside, and I see we went to pick up an order the other day at a local restaurant, and people were just packed in there. Oh, yeah, tables were 6 feet apart, but when you have 8 people at a table that met there for dinner, it doesn't help. It does not help. All it does is spread the virus. And, we were talking about one of my doctors went to Florida for 2 weeks to a private island, so he doesn't think he's going to be exposed. I canceled my appointments until 3 weeks after he's back, because I don't want to go see him until I'm sure he didn't drag something back home with him, and if not him, maybe one of his kids did. I don't know. I can't be that careless with my own health. There's nobody to do my job here on the farm if I get sick, and I can't explain that enough to people. When you're self-employed, especially when you farm, those animals have to get fed. I have been out there, 9 months pregnant doing my chores, and you don't get a day off. You just don't. I mean, I remember being out there after my back surgery with my walker for the horseshoer. It's just my job, and trying to explain that to people who are anti-maskers and against social distancing, and then they go to these restaurants and they drag it back with them. I can't take that chance, and neither can you, and neither should you. So
yeah, no, I mean, exactly. I mean, for all of us, for most of us, when we really think about our situations, it's very easy for us to unintentionally kill somebody and not know it.
Right.
For example, in my case, I'm very careful about not touching it. I always social distance. I always wear a mask.
Yep.
I refuse to go dine inside. And I'll tell you the reason. And I got some pushback from fellow activists. They say, "Gosh, like when you were like back in the 60s, 70s, you out there and you didn't worry about getting clubbed by the cops and all that stuff, and now you're full of virus." And I said, "Well, if it was just me taking the chance of dying, I'd take that chance, for a cause. But it's more than that. It's my wife's home health care, right? One of her senior citizens, one of her charges is actually coming out of the hospital today. Fortunately, it wasn't COVID-19, but these are elderly people. These are people that have immune deficiencies and stuff like that. If I can't give it to my wife, I could kill several people without even knowing it. And I will not do that. And see my hair right here? I joke about I'm going to look like I did back in the 70s pretty soon because I refuse to get a haircut.
Are you going for the flock of seagulls look from the 80s?
Yeah.
But here's the interesting thing is I read this article about New York, and New York seems to be doing a really good job of controlling it. There's barbers out there that are doing their haircuts side. I would love to find a barber in Illinois, a stylist, or that's doing it outside, because tests have proven
that's interesting.
That you do social. Huh?
That's very interesting. I like the al fresco hair.
If there's any, if there's any barbers or stylists listening to this podcast, okay, please, okay, start doing haircuts outside.
I love that idea.
It'll be business, seriously.
Yeah, I love it.
I'll travel 100 miles to come and get my haircut for you. Just let me know.
I think that's fabulous. I think haircut al fresco sounds good. terribly low maintenance, Pete. I get my hair cut about once every 3 to 5 years. That's why it's so long, but it grows so fast. And for 15 years, I cut my own bangs until I decided I didn't want bangs anymore. But, for me, because I tend to be a low maintenance person to begin with, the only thing I ever had done was my eyebrows. Well, now I do them myself. Hurts like hell, but I'm not going to go in there and have somebody in my face that close.
Yeah, I guess I could use a bit of that too.
Could you, little manscaping?
When I get my hair done. Yeah, when I get my hair done, I always do my eyebrows. That's probably the part that I miss the most.
Yeah, I know. I have to be careful not to take out too much,
Hey, I got a tip. Ellie Hansen wax strips, phenomenal. You can cut them in the shape of your brow. You can cut them for the top. Put them on. You go with the green and you rip them off, and it's fabulous. No, nothing. I love them. That's what I do. I've been using them for years.
Yeah.
And my eyebrows are definitely not always on fleek, but at least they're not like caterpillars.
Yeah, at least they're not the painted on ones that are so popular right now. Oh, those are awful. Just awful.
Oh, I like that. I said, maybe I got to get those little googly eyeballs and put them on the side of my caterpillar.
Pete, I don't know if you knew this, but when I was in Iowa last year for the Iowa Steak Fry, the hotel my husband and I were staying at, we pulled in after the steak fry, which was out in the rain, and I was all bedraggled, and we pulled up to our hotel to check in, and there was drag queens everywhere. It was just like I died and went to heaven. It was fabulous.
And Queens in Iowa, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, but I didn't realize that drag beards were really popular. So there was a lot of men that had their eyebrows and facial hair, all their facial hair, glittered and with little bejeweled and stuff. So maybe you could do that. I was just, like I said, it just couldn't have been the end to a perfect day. I got to hear all 28 presidential candidates and meet a whole bunch of really cool drag queens. It was the best. It was awesome.
Jealous. I'm still jealous of that day for her. I'm so jealous.
It was so good. It couldn't have been a better end to our trip out to the Great Red Divide. Anyway, and my husband was, all on board with it too, because we like to go to drag shows. So anyway, so Pete, do you think that there's something our state could be doing, something we could be doing better, as far as we have this mandate from the governor that, and just Monday, just yesterday, and I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, if you can hear it pouring down rain on my studio. I have insulated tiles up, and the booth is soundproofed, but I have a metal roof up above, and it's really, really pouring out by me. But so mini stores, and there was about 16 total stores, and big ones: Walmart, Sears, what's left of Sears, JCPenney's, Aldi's, Kroger, Dollar Tree, that are doing mask mandates now. You cannot shop their stores. Now, Costco and Menards have done a fabulous job with this all along, and I became a Costco shopper. I've always been a Menards shopper because of these mask mandates. We went and got a Costco membership because I knew I could shop there safely. I don't go shopping very often, but I don't want to give Jeff Bezos any more of my money, so I have to go out and do some shopping. So I applaud them for finally taking this action. Finally. But I would like our federal government to come down with a mask mandate. I think you need to get a ticket, like a speeding ticket or a parking ticket. What?
Did you see the Tangerine Toddlers post from yesterday?
What?
The mask.
Oh, where he said patriotism?
Shadowed. Black lips, black shadowed around him, and he's got his mask on, and it says, "Some people say it's very patriotic to wear a mask. Be like me." Hey, dumbass! What, 5 months later, you try to pull some half-assed PR look.
Well, he only
get those raving lunatics you riled up.
Yep, he created them.
And I was reading the comments.
You can't put that genie back in the bottle, DJT.
And I was reading the comments to see if anybody was like, "Oh, I like a mask," because you can find those comparisons. And a lot of them were still like, "Ain't no mask for me." And I'm like, "Oh my God, you're such an idiot."
Well, okay, let me Yeah, COVIDiots. I love that word. Uh, well, as far as a mask made, okay, first let me kind of respond to what Heidi had just said about the big box retailers requiring masks. I think that's a wonderful thing. If I were them, I would take one step further. For example, Menards, I think they charge or 90 cents, something like that. You don't have a mask, and they
Yeah.
insist that you have it. But I mean, if I were Menards, I would give them away free. I mean, when you look at the amount of money that they take in every day, giving out a couple $100 worth of masks every day is nothing, and it takes away the excuse of the never maskers. Oh wow, not only do you want me to wear a mask, you want me to buy a mask. So that takes one of those away. So
I think that they donate that money from the masks to Children's Miracle Network. I think they're using it as a fundraising tool. That was the sign I saw in my local Menards. Now, I never have to buy a mask because I have my own, but
yeah,
my own KN95s.
yeah.
But
But I'm just saying is if what we need to do is we need to take the wind out of the sails of the maskers, right?
Sure.
And sure, I mean, that's a good thing. They're donating the money to somebody else, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I think if, I mean, even from a customer relations point, oh, you got free masks, because there are genuinely people, and it's happened to me, where I've gone to Menards and I said, damn, I left my mask in the other car,
Yeah.
And then I just don't go shop. And I'm not going to buy another mask because I actually got 2 boxes of masks, that I changed really. So I figured I can come back in today, so they lost an impulse purchase, not a big deal. But I'm just saying is the mask mandate itself, okay? I've been talking to a lot of county people, city people, health departments, stuff like that. And here's the problem: unless you have home rule, you cannot do a mask ordinance. We need a statewide mask ordinance. Now, last week in Springfield, we had the Democratic State Central Committee meeting. It involved the Democratic National Convention. That was the whole purpose for being there. But when I went down there, I also spoke to Michael Madigan, and I said, look, a lot of people are saying, well, Pete, you're going down to Springfield. I said, can you push for a mask mandate? And I said, sure. So I went down there. Knoxville, Tennessee actually has a mask mandate. And so Bob Babcock, who's an activist in Rockford, sent me the link to the actual documents. I printed out and I gave it to him. And look, here's the boilerplate. I'll make this easy, okay? Please call a special session and get a mandate passed in Illinois, okay? And then this scandal comes up, and then it's kind of like, shit. I mean, all of us have feelings about Madigan, but right now we're in the middle of a pandemic. All the modeling says we're going to be in shit trouble in Illinois in the middle of August because it's coming back, okay?
Yeah.
And
the vengeance.
And why do we need? It's kind of like, let's stay focused on the immediate, okay? Because people are going to die. People are going to even if they live, it's been proven they're going to have chronic symptoms for the rest of their life.
Right.
So
this virus will be killing people for decades after it's no longer active and viable. So, and here's what I see, Pete. I really see as the numbers ramp up, I do see a mask mandate coming. I believe that our governor has given the Darren Baileys and let's not forget Let's not forget the head of the Republican Party that's not going to his own convention for concerns. Jim Durkin opened the state. Jim Durkin, who's now not going to the RNC convention because he's concerned about, COVID-19. Let's let everybody go, run wild, mask-free, and get as close as they want. Jim Durkin can't bring himself to go to Jacksonville. What a frickin' hypocrite. And I almost lost our monetization again, almost. But,
I need to say something about this, and you're right, Heidi. And Peter, you're right. The governor can only do so much. He preemptively struck the mask requirement for schools. He preemptively sued if he wouldn't have to put up with the anti-maskers and the mask hole saying kids don't have to wear masks to school. So he's ahead. He steps ahead. It's time for the General Assembly and the Senate to do something. They sat back and let him run everything, which is fine. Crisis.
Yeah. It's an election year. They didn't dare do anything. Paralyzed.
It's an election year. They don't want to cross any lines till it's time. Get together, make some state legislation that takes some of the pressure off of Pritzker. You're absolutely right. We do need something along those lines. I couldn't agree more, Peter.
Right. And I mean, there's something that we can do right now, because I hear people say, I talked to the store owner and they say there's nothing they can do about it. And that's not exactly true.
That's not true at all.
Because it's already been gone through the Supreme Courts that businesses can enforce dress code, these never maskers would think about walking through Menard barefoot, or well, maybe they would, But the idea is, a business can say, hey, that's our dress code, I mean, they can take it fully out of the realm of the pandemic and stuff. Just say it's our dress code, right?
Right. No shirt, no shoes, no mask, no
and
service.
Then that business can call the police. Okay,
for trespassing.
For trespassing.
You know it. It's private property.
The public health department.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to say that there was hundreds of thousands of us, hundreds of thousands of activists and frustrated consumers that called and wrote and emailed and messaged and social media large giant retailers like Costco to say thank you, like Jewel, like Menards, like Walmart, and demanded a change in policy from Walmart. And once Walmart changed their policy, it was like dominoes watching the rest of the... Now, my daughter works for Jewel. Jewel does not have this. They were set up to do it. I watched them set up to do this mask mandating, and then they backed off on it. And I was very surprised they didn't. In fact, my daughter's on her 2-week notice right now with Jewel. Part of it is because it's just, it's an unsafe work environment when you have to go in and you don't know who's going to cough on you on purpose, who's going to whip off their mask and get really close to you. These anti-maskers are not just anti-masking, they're bullying and intimidating people who work in essential services, like the people that work at the grocery store, and they take out their frustration on them.
When they first started locking down some of the more America states, and you had people shooting or threatening Dollar General workers with guns and assaults occurring, and businesses are like, that's a liability.
That was in Michigan.
People, it's hard enough. It's the middle of the pandemic. The situation is so volatile. But Peter, I think it's time that legislators do their freaking job.
Step up.
Legislate.
Step up.
Stop worrying about the votes in the ballot box in November, because if everybody's dead, you're not going to win anyway.
Yeah.
It's time to take
not only that,
proactive role.
Is these for JB anyway? So why placate them? I mean, there's no reason to do that. I mean, if anything, by not being tough or more tougher with these never maskers, you may be jeopardizing your own, re-election with a lot of the independents, not with the never maskers.
Well, my concern, Peter, with our legislature taking this up in Illinois is that it's going to fall right on party lines, and we're going to have the same party bullshit stuff
we
that
have
we've
a majority. So we have a temporary legislation or the extension for a year, 6 months, whatever. They took all the pressure off of Pritzker because the Republicans are screaming overstepping power. That's what all the lawsuits are about. It's overstepping his power. He doesn't have that authority. So fine, legislature, step up, give him that authority. There are more maskers than anti-maskers in the Senate and the House right now.
Well,
Illinois, let me correct that, not that early.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even the surveys, the national surveys, okay? 80% of Democrats and 60% of Republicans are wearing masks and social distancing.
Right.
So, I mean, to be tough on that, you're on the right side of every feeling. But here again, okay, I don't want to just depend on our legislators to do all the things, okay? I mean, we have to put some skin in the game. And what we have power of the purse, okay? We have our dollar right now. And we can vote with a dollar.
Yep.
And I'll tell you something that we love, okay? Way back, maybe about a month or a little more, Chicago came out with a program where, businesses pledged to go and enforce social distancing, take care of their employees. The 6 steps. We all know what they are. And Rockford started to do the same thing, Winnebago County, and they had a program that I just found out about only a week ago called Clean Hands and Doors. And business takes this message, and in return, all of these businesses get listed on a website. So these are businesses that people are safe going to, okay? Because these are businesses that jump through to ensure that their customers are safe.
Right.
And I mean, not only their customers, but their employees, they follow all the CC guidelines, okay, and follow all of JP's directives and Illinois Department of Health directives, their rules, unconstitutional. They're still going to take, and I think that's wonderful. But a lot of people say, well, we need the opposite of that too. We need a list of bad businesses,
Yes.
We need a good list and a bad list. And I think with having this bad list out there I think we can change the behavior of the businesses because their very survival is going to depend on it.
It reminds me of when our county health department here out in LaSalle County used to put grades in the windows of the restaurants, grade A or grade B or grade C on cleanliness. I would love to see that for COVID-19. Sometimes you don't know what you're walking into until you walk into it. Now, as a consumer, I turn right around and walk out. My daughter and I we go to the farm supply all the time, and there's several different farm supplies around us. One locally family-owned operation does an excellent job with keeping their customers safe. But then you go into some of the others and not so good, some of the bigger chains. So it just depends on, the management style and what people are doing. But I have an ongoing conversation with Farm and Fleet, which is one of the bigger chains, and their lack of enforcement on masks. I have to go in there all the time. I probably spend $15,000 a year at Farm and Fleet for my farm, and I have taken my business elsewhere. I can't do it. I'll drive clear to Princeton to go to Tractor Supply so I don't have to deal with Farm and Fleet. And Tractor Supply is one of those businesses that does a great job with it. I don't want to have to shop online and give Jeff Bezos more of my money, but as a consumer, we can choose. Yeah, we can choose where we spend our money. And Farm and Fleet doesn't want my $15,000. Yeah. Farm and Fleet doesn't want my $15,000. Somebody else will.
We have had an amazing show. We've had some comments and we've had some views, and I have so loved having you on, but we are pushing way past our usual talk time. So can we ask you to come back on our show again?
Sure, unless you got a couple minutes to talk about Sign and Dine real quick.
Oh, yeah, we'd love to talk about Sign and Dine.
Absolutely, yes. Everyone pay attention.
Okay. About a bunch of us were sitting around thinking about how to help in the effort contact trace. Okay, contact tracing is so critical in slowing down the spread of this virus, and I know the state is going to spend a couple $1 million to hire contact tracers. I'm sure all the individual county health departments are. And city of Chicago, I think, is going to spend $66 million alone to hire contract tracers. And then the question comes up is, I mean, everybody goes to eat, right? And somebody's going to get tested for COVID. And they were going to be at Joe's Diner last Thursday, right?
Yeah.
And then, so the contract knows that, okay? How are you ever going to go and find out who else might have been exposed at that restaurant? And what kind of triggered Cape Girardeau at some gym or sport complex, and all on the front page of lines, if you were that day, notify the health department because they'd be infected and all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, every business wants to be in papers, on TV and stuff like that, but not that way. Okay. So we said, well, how can we avoid that? How we can help the contact tracer? So we came up with a concept called Sign In to Dine In. And it's always been voluntary. Essentially what it is it's a book that you load at the table. On the one side, it explains what the program is, that it's voluntary. You care about your privacy. If the sheet that you sign into doesn't need to be used in like a reasonable time, 60 days, it gets torn up and shredded. Okay, we can't use it for marketing, only use contact tracing. The other thing is, I'm very concerned about privacy myself. When I was running for state rep, privacy was a big issue that I was running on. So the form is very minimal. It doesn't ask for everybody, just one person at the table sign in. I mean, you're going to remember who you were out with, right? You can let everybody else notify. It doesn't ask for email because that's the choice of spammers. If you got an email, county health department, you probably think it was trying to sell you Viagra or something, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, phone address is what the health departments look for. And, when I explain to people, okay, I asked a simple question. Hey, in a restaurant last test positive and you might be infected, you want to be notified? And I didn't come across answered no, So again, the messaging that, and some people were still concerned with privacy. And then here's the funny thing. It said, you really don't think twice about leaving name and address or putting your business card in the jar, to win a free meal, okay?
Right.
Good point. Very good point.
Right, but then won't share your information to get notified if you got infected. I mean, you put your family and friends at risk, and all of a sudden they do, wow, I didn't. So again, master people that think that this is some kind of hoax and stuff, like, we have to get better our message to them. I mean, we have to make personal.
I agree, Peter. And, we have got to take this information out there. I took the John Hopkins contact tracing class online. Part of it is because I haven't really worked since the middle of March. People are not bringing their kids out for lessons as much as they used to. And my daughter's students are still coming out. Mine are more adults and not as interested in riding right now because they've got so many other pools on their time and money. A lot of them aren't working right now. So I took the contact tracing course because I thought, here's something I could do, because it's research from home. And that tool that you're proposing would be so valuable for contact tracing. If we don't know who's got it, we can't prevent the spread of it. That's
right, exactly
the bottom line.
Peter, I was thinking, if we do have to wrap up here, but is there a virtual version where how when you go to a restaurant, people check in? So if there a virtual way people could come in and check in and then click that they were there so that they would be able to be like, you get 5% off your meal if you what is it called, sign in from a place, or social media, do that. And that would also be a way that maybe would make people feel a little more comfortable, knowing it's more secure, it's not paper, I'm not touching it
every day. They can
I mean sign in to Dine In is a concept, and Australia doing it exactly like what they have the little QR code and everything. Just swipe your phone on that. But then now there's a whole bunch of apps in development to do that, and those apps are being pushed onto the health departments all across the country.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the idea that Google that's behind that.
No, and especially with its ties to Kushner. Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, I'm totally against that. I mean, if people are fine with it, I mean, I guess the younger generation isn't as concerned about privacy as a lot of us are, and I think that could work in like the cities and stuff like that. But then this sign in the Dine with the paper version is meant to be very simple. You know what I mean? And part of it works on wanting the restaurants to exist, but the other part of making it a success is making it a grassroots movement, or everybody has a favorite restaurant, the owner, right?
Mm-hmm.
The idea is you go pick up a binder, for $1 or $2, go on your printer, print out these sheets, go to your restaurant guy, and say, look, I know you got your hands full. You're worried about, just staying in business right now. I want to take it off your back.
Right.
And I also want off your butt, okay, because there are lawyers that will sue their ass off. And I think I just monetized you, right?
It's your turn.
That's we get in trouble for.
But anyway, the thing is, I mean, it protects people's lives, it protects restaurant owners. There's no reason not to do this.
Right.
And because it's paper and you can print it out on your printer, it doesn't cost anything.
Right.
And so there's really no reason to not do this. So
well, and Peter,
part of it is going to...
Part of the reason that we all drop our card in that little fishbowl thing is the opportunity to come back and dine again. So when you do something like this, if the restaurant wants to increase participation, saying, every week we draw somebody's name for a free app,
there's gotta be an incentive. You
a free
can't
appetizer.
Be honest with people because they're stupid. You have to trick. I'm sorry. True story.
Well,
you have to trick people.
Yeah, let me throw another idea to you, right? Is like Chicago's closing down the bars again.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
And we,
but see, if I were yeah, go ahead.
We have so many friends in the hospitality industry, and they've had a really, really rough year. And now this last 7 months or 4 months have been so hard on them. And then now, because people are not participating correctly, or they're not enforcing correctly at the bars and restaurants, now we're going back, and the thing is that
I mean, here
go ahead.
I mean, what I'd love to do is we have this group called Stop COVID Illinois, just that, Stop COVID Illinois, and then it's a .com and stuff. I'd love to have people like just ideas. We have a Facebook group. We came up with another idea. I mean, like, we're not focused on sign in to dine in, little mom and pop restaurants. But I'm thinking to myself, you know what, if I owned a bar, you know what I would do? I wouldn't even say I'm contact tracing. What I do is I'd say, okay, once a week we're going to raffle off a case of beer, Put your name in here. It's a contest, okay? Name, address, phone numbers. Every Saturday night we're buying and maybe 5. I mean, a case of beer costs your bar open,
Yeah.
And you have contact tracing. You just save that. You don't have to tell people you're contact tracing. I mean, it's a little disingenuous, but damn, I mean, it saves lives, and
yeah.
But I'm just saying is, I sit around talking to people, across the table, outside, of course, and I say, hey, what's your take on this? What are your ideas? I would love to hear ideas from people.
Right.
And then we put them all out on the page, and we start getting stuff happen. We have a lot of very intelligent people that we know.
Yes. That's very true. Sometimes just listening to how people, ideas that are formed in their head. I don't know. I get so much from listening to other people's ideas. It's fascinating what the approaches people have to solutions.
We love your idea. So what we're going to do, Peter, is we're going to put casket or casket. No, I'm kidding. That's not your slogan. Dine In sign up on our page. We're going to put
a link to your
media.
A link to your Facebook page.
To put out Stop COVID. Please send us that link. We're going to do what we can to amplify your voice and your ideas for the northern part of the state. And we love having you on. So we're hoping to have you come back on the show again after we get through the next 2 weeks of insanity. Yeah. So, folks, please. Today's episode was a little long, but it was great. Peter Janko, Central Committeeman for Northern Illinois. He is an activist, a progressive, and a hell of a good guy with some great ideas, and we always want to amplify those types of voices. So thank you again, Peter.
Yes.
Heidi, kiss out, girl.
Yeah, so you can catch all of our previous episodes at Heartland Mamas, MAMAS.com, on the Demcast Network, YouTube, and, of course, on all podcast platforms. So tune in. This one will be released onto the
subscribe and share.
Yeah, subscribe, and share. This one will be available for you to download onto your podcast so you can hear it again tomorrow. Okay? Take care now. See you later.
Tomorrow. Special episode.
Bye, everyone.
Take care now.
Bye.
Bye.